See the scene of how corrupt the things were in the days of Noah, and how Noah stood out in this corrupt generation as blameless. What a person! I can't wait to meet him. But when we look at this next section, 6:14 through 7:24, we see God has a very clear, detailed plan. Now, ladies, if you're going to hear a detailed plan, and if I'm going to hear a detailed plan from the Lord, that means we have to take time to listen. Be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know that I am God. Isn't that one of the hardest things in our culture? Some of us have our calendars, our day timers, and it's like, I'm busy, therefore I exist. No, you're busy, and hopefully you have some priorities and that you aren't going to lose everything. Your relationship with the Lord, your relationship with your husband, your relationship with your children, your family. Does your mother need a phone call? Does your mother-in-law need a note? What is it? But if you're not listening, you're going to miss it. We see that this, doesn't it just blow your mind when you read this in Genesis? That Noah obeyed God in everything? Everything? That just blows my mind. Some of you saw this, and I hope a lot of you got it in your core group or got the website. But this man in the Netherlands who built Noah's Ark precisely, the exact dimensions, precisely. It's amazing, and I'll give it to your leaders again, and they can forward the email to you. But it's just amazing. And as he talked about his reason for doing it, he said that he wanted it to be a testament to his own faith in the literal truth of the Bible. He said the ark, he gave all the dimensions, and then he has pictures of life-size giraffes and elephants and all these kind of things in it. He said that he did most of the work with his own hands, not using modern tools, because he wanted to see what that would be like. And visitors are stunned as they come and see how massive and how huge this the ark really was. It's so hard for us to take it in. But this was interesting. His last comment was, I know the story of Noah, but I had no idea the boat would have been so giant. There is even enough space near the keel for a 50-seat film theater where children can watch a video that tells the story of Noah and the ark. He said that he hopes this project will renew interest in Christianity in the Netherlands, where the church has fallen off so dramatically, that this will be his legacy of faith. He said, he takes Psalm 71:18, now that I am old and gray, give me the time to tell this new generation and their children about the mighty miracles of God. So we see this amazing faithfulness of Noah, his obedience. And it's interesting, when I was reading My Utmost for His Highest, as you know, which I often do, it was so like, Lord, help me. There was many things going on in our family, and I thought, what do you want me to see? What do you want me to do? And then I came across this. All God's revelations are sealed until they are open to us by obedience. You will never get them open by philosophy or thinking, but immediately you obey. A flash of light comes. Let God's truth work in you by soaking it in, not by worrying into it. The only way you and I can get to know is to stop trying to find out and be born again in His Spirit. Obey God in the thing He shows you, and instantly the next thing is opened. One reads volumes and volumes of the work of the Holy Spirit when one 5 minutes of drastic obedience would make the thing clear. I suppose I shall understand these things someday, we say, but you can understand them now. It is not study that does it, but obedience. The tiniest fragment of obedience and heaven opens, and the profoundest truths of God are yours straight away. God will never reveal more truth about Himself until you have obeyed the truth that you already know. Beware of becoming wise and prudent. That is so exciting, because that means it's available to everybody. That means it's available to you and to me, that we just say, okay, Lord, I know you want me to love my husband. I know you want me to raise my children to be godly, but I'm having a hard time. Show me the way. I'm going to try, even though I don't feel like it. Have you ever had your kids say, I don't feel like going to school? I don't feel like being a mother. I don't feel like cooking today. I mean, but what is the truth? The truth is, we want to do what His Spirit calls us to do. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out by living a life of faith and not living a life of faith and not a life of feeling. You know, where our whole culture says, if it feels good, then do it. But God says, no, I want to protect you. I want to bless you. I want to help you. When I was thinking about some of the outrageous plans that God had for me, and this is what He wants us to see as we're looking at Noah and the storm and God's plan and His details. As many of you know, at 18, Jerry and I got engaged, and you have 18-year-olds are going, woo! And at 19, we got married, and we moved to a city I had never seen. I didn't know how to spell, I don't think. Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because Jerry played football at the University of Alabama. And it was God's great plan for me. My dad had died. I had a brother and sister that were too much into drugs and alcohol, and another brother away at college. And God said, I'm going to take you, Holly, out of everything that's familiar to you and put you someplace else for your good, to bless you, to help you. Like, there are very few people who are native Washingtons. If you've moved more than 5 times in your life, raise your hand. Well, hello. I mean, we moved 15 or 16 times before we moved here. And I was the gal who had never lived anyplace else but my house. God has a plan. God has a purpose. And He's going to show you the way. In the storms of your life, and the hard things that are happening for your children, He's got a plan. He's got a way. So anyway, we're in Tuscaloosa, and we start a Bible study and meet all these different people. And I learned that far away from my home, far away from my friends and neighbors, God is able to see me through, to take care of me, to show me things I could never have imagined. Another hard thing, gosh, moving to Northern California. Many of you remember the story of moving to Northern California. Here we'd lived all over the place, mostly in the South, and we moved to Northern California, where I got teased for my accent. Can you believe that? But this was part of God's good plan. Because as much as I had prayed, Lord, help me be a good mother, help me be a good wife, help me do these things, God said, Holly, you're way too busy. You run ahead of me too many times. I'm going to put you on this place where you have to slow down. Because nobody knows you and nobody cares about you. And you're just going to have busy summers full of campers and then nothing. And I cried and I cried. I had the best time in the summer. We ran a ranch. It was a family camp. It was great. And then came the fall. And then came the snow. In November through May. That's too long for snow. But ladies, God had a plan. And part of that plan was I could not wait for my kids to get off the school bus. I could not wait. Instead of trying to plan the 5 million things they were going to do that week, because we had a busy week, I was all there for them. They had all of my attention, which they had probably never had for a long time. Ladies, God's plans are good. Whatever storm you're in, whatever changes are going on in your home, God has a plan. And Noah obeyed God, and we saw these warnings. Can you imagine? You know, we saw it so well in our lesson, in our wonderful CBS notebooks, that over and over, there's 120 years of building the ark and Noah preaching. And that's one thing that Tozer says so well, is that if you love somebody, you can't help but tell people about it. If you love God, you can't help but tell somebody about it. And one of my favorite things here in Washington is going to fancy places in different events and